attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kira's show here, and let me make sure my mic does not come undone this time. I just recorded this video, and audio problems are not fun. Seems like I'm running into a lot of those lately. Either way, let us begin. Whenever we last left off with this part, or this series, Izuku Midoriya, he has begun to unlock his power, Ultra Instinct. Midoriya is completely oblivious as to what this really is. He's not too sure. However, he is aware that it has something to do with his own abilities. Whenever he does fight and grow stronger, he can feel this power inside of him. It tries to manifest, and it's quite peculiar. His mother and father have been trying to teach him how to use it. And today we do have a curious lesson. Midoriya is learning how to fly and harness his ki. Now, Midoriya, he begins to learn. It is quite curious. From what his parents do describe, you basically have to focus on your power. Try and regulate it. The same way that you would have your aura around your body. You're basically letting your body release all of your ki slowly. However, you basically want to focus it into your feet and push off of the ground. It was strange. And it took a few days. But Midoriya began to understand it and learn it. Now, along with that, Midoriya eventually does start flying. And he does have a bit of fun with it. Midoriya is able to actually surprise a few of his new friends, including Bakugo, it being quite peculiar that he can fly. And Bakugo does want to actually try and learn himself. However, he is a bit annoyed. It would take him a long time to try and harness ki. And beginning by trying to learn from Midoriya was kind of hard. Basically, what you want to do is focus on your inner self and a power inside of your body. Bakugo couldn't even stay still long enough to even focus on what those words begin to mean. Now, as for that, you do have Midoriya, who begins to at least train his power and try and learn more about it. There is times where he does fall into Ultra Instinct. However, he's not too sure why. Midoriya falls into the attacking portion, or the defensive portion. He doesn't know. He just knows that he falls into whatever this is. And, to put it bluntly, it's kind of odd. It's like being taken for a ride in your own body. And this power. It's strange. Midoriya does want to try and learn more about it. However, there's the fact that, well, his parents don't really know what to say. Now, you do have today. Midoriya is around the age of 7 to 8 years old. And he is actually training. Within Midoriya's home is somewhat of a little room, or better referred to as a gravity chamber. Midoriya is currently at least trying to train. He is going about pretty good at 5 times Earth's normal gravity. And he's actually intensely focused, trying to at least get accustomed to moving around a bit more and actually just throw around some random punches. Meanwhile, you do have Inko and Hisashi. They, right now, are out on hero work. And you do have what's going on today. These two have been going extremely far today. They've been fighting villains who can harness ki. And the battle was quite, how would you put it, explosive. Hisashi was able to actually fight the villain, however, he did suffer a little bit of damage to his hands and his body, being able to get away with a few cuts and bruises. Meanwhile, you also do have Inko. She was able to fight a bit more intensely and overpower the villain, being able to blindside him by blasting him through his shoulder and disabling his arm, before being able to break his nose in and send him flying into the ground. Now, with that, both of them were able to actually arrest the villains and get them sent off to jail. And they did eventually have to go and see a doctor. There wasn't too much major damage, but they were sent home for the day. And they would have to file some paperwork. They eventually do arrive to find their son, Midoriya. He is inside the gravity chamber, and at this point, he is going up to times 6 Earth's gravity. He's beginning to think that he can actually do this. He can actually train and fight. However, there is a bit of a problem. He's alone, and he can't get too much stronger. After Inko and Hisashi do basically get him out of the room for a minute, get themselves cleaned up and rested, or cleaned up in a change of clothes, they do actually join Midoriya, beginning by teaching him a few more techniques. Midoriya has come far in ki training, and today there is something that they believe would help him a lot. As you have Inko, and she teaches Midoriya the multiform technique, being able to split herself in two and basically explain to her son that this is what the ability does. It is able to make another version of you. However, both her and I are equal in power level. Basically, the more you split, the more your power level is divided. Now, Midoriya, this technique would take him a bit more time. It's a bit advanced, and simply just trying to make one of him is hard enough. However, you do have Inko and Hisashi. They do want to learn a bit more about that strange power their son was producing. So, Midoriya, he does face off against Inko and Hisashi themselves. They want to see exactly how big that power level actually was. It was too far away to even try and begin to try and gauge it. So they want to try and bring that power out of him and properly see it. Now, with that being said, they upped the gravity to 10 times. They thought that that might be enough to awaken that power or even ability. And Midoriya, he did at least struggle. But by releasing his ki and just keeping his feet firmly planted, he is able to maintain staying up. And you do have Inko and Sashi. As soon as Inko did begin to rush towards Midoriya, he tried to back away, her being able to actually get a love tap in on him. She didn't hit him at full power, but she did give him a sizable percentage, let's say about 20%. However, with her increased movements, the amount of force pushing against Midoriya's skull did at least feel like it increased the intensity. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does actually try and fight back, and go against his mother. As soon as Midoriya does begin to at least appear to have that strange aura form around his body, the other Inkos jump in and fight with Midoriya. They can feel that power. It is slowly beginning to increase. It's quite strange. Now, at this point, you basically do have Inko and Midoriya facing off and flying throughout the entire chamber. Midoriya is blocking every single punch that his mother is trying to send at him, from any direction. And it appears that he's simply just doing it with both hands. As soon as he goes to block, she goes to attack. It doesn't make any sense. She's not even able to follow her own son's movements. And eventually Midoriya does turn the tables, being able to grab her by her leg and begin to, well, put pressure down on it. That immense amount of, well, pressure does begin to actually hurt her, and she does actually somewhat scream out in pain. The other Inkos trying to simply just hit Midoriya's wrist, and Midoriya gets a direct ki blast through his wrist. It just simply blasts onto his hand, and, well, it blasts into his wrist and ricochets, hitting the side of the chamber. That being where all the gravity inside the room just stops working. It goes back to normal. And Midoriya actually does somewhat get out of that mind state, before just letting go of his mom. Him actually somewhat scared of what just happened. Meanwhile, you do have this power. It still does feel like it's overwhelming. Midoriya's hand shaking and he's scared, looking at his mom. Now, before Midoriya can even open his mouth to say something, this is what currently happens. The intense usage of Ultra Instinct wears down his body. Not only does he fall out of the air, but, put simply, some of his muscle fibers in his arms, body, torso, and legs, along with his back, explode. Now, after that does happen, this is quite a cause for concern. Inko simply screaming for Hisashi, and they do get their son to a hospital, both of them flying at basically high speeds. As soon as they get to a hospital, Midoriya is immediately admitted, and he does see a doctor. The doctor himself does actually specialize in ki, and luckily, unlike other treatments, his treatment will be instant. Him simply just waving his hands over Midoriya's body and beginning to heal him physically. As soon as he does wake up, he's quite surprised, looking at his arms and along with his body. And the doctor simply does ask, "How did this happen?" Well, we were training and we don't know. It's part of his quirk. Whatever happened? His body? Well, we sort of have a theory. His quirk, we believe, has to do with physical danger. He was almost hit by a car or... he was almost hit by a giant truck. I'm sorry, what do you mean? I mean like a giant 18-wheeler truck almost hit him one day. He split the thing directly in two. However he did it, we don't know. but we know that he did. His quirk seemed to be some sort of defensive ability. Whenever we were training with him, it activated. However, I did notice something differently. He did seem more conscious of what was going on. As soon as he began to hurt Inko, he quite simply just stopped. It's like he doesn't have control of himself. I see. If I would have to guess, I would assume this is some sort of heightened instinct. Heightened? Yes. You see, what's the best way to say it? Every single species of animal, albeit human or otherwise, their brains, they're wired, preset, instincts. If you believe that you are in danger, you will run. If you believe that you are hunting something, and that piece of food you are hunting is the only thing possible for you to eat, you will fight for it if another animal tries to take it. It's part of your instinct. I believe that your son may be able to harness these instincts. However, this heightened state I am unsure of. This power, I haven't seen anything like it. So, have you been able to feel him then? Feel his power level? Well, if we're talking power levels, I don't know. All I know is he disappears after a certain point. Alright, but can you at least try reading him? Alright. Now, the doctor actually does scan Midoriya. And Midoriya is surprised to learn his power level. It is actually somewhere around 332. That kind of surprising. That is a very high number, especially for someone his age. Hell, if they were able to enter him into the Tenkaichi Budokai, well, the boy would probably decimate his opponents. Now, Midoriya is kind of surprised to learn that, and his parents are somewhat weary, informing Midoriya that his quirk is very powerful, and, if they have to guess, very, dangerous. So he does have to go to great extents to make sure that if he is ever attacked by somebody, even if they do not mean to, if it's simple just playing, be cautious of using his quirk. If he can even trigger it himself, then that means that, keep it turned off for now. Only use it when we train and whenever we're fighting. Okay? Midoriya agreeing with his parents. However, he also does at least wonder. With his quirk, can he become the greatest hero? Sure, it's strange and odd, but even then, this being what Midoriya thinks as he does fly home, and wonder to himself. He needs to make sure that he can do something about it. Okay, so my quirk. If I can properly handle it, maybe. Just maybe. Maybe it won't do that again. Or, no, wait. That feeling I got. I was tired. I was exhausted. I kinda still am. Maybe that's it. My body didn't have the energy to keep it going. I think I can understand my abilities a bit better now. But even then, what could I do to train them? I better ask Mom and Dad. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does begin to look at this avenue. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.